Hey everyone, it's Jim from Radio Wasteland Records in Midland.
Stan Parman from Wheelz 104.5. Good to see you again, buddy.
Hey, so what do you know about the history of the song The 12 Days of Christmas?
Not a whole lot.
Well, according to my research, this was started in the 1500s by a guy by the name of Nicholas Dangerous, who went on to become the patron saint of college radio DJs.
Nick Danger. Yeah.
Probably. But it was started as a promotional means to give away his sheet music of lute music to the masses.
Really? Are you making this up?
Probably. But that's not going to stop us from carrying on this tradition of giving away great music. So Stan called me a few weeks back and said, hey, let's do this promotion and give away some records.
Yeah, we're calling it the 12 Albums of Christmas that Jim and I put our heads together, and we came up what we feel is quite the collection of 12 of the biggest classic rock albums of all time that are going to be perfect to either start your vinyl collection, add to your vinyl collection, or if you just don't want to buy anyone any presents, you can win it and then just re-gift these things to people that do have vinyl collections.
So on the 12 days of Christmas, we're not giving these away one day at a time. We're giving them away in one big
lump
chunk.
Sum. One lump sum.
12 records to one person.
Yep, and what you do is you stop by here, see Jim at Radio Wasteland Records in Midland, and you sign up to win, drop it in the box. Then coming up Thursday, December 15th, at 10 a.m., we will be back on here with another video to yank out the winner, and we will congratulate you and give you a call, and you'll stop by here and pick up your huge stacks of wax, brand new vinyl.
So now the only thing that we're not going to do today, though, is sing the 12 albums of Christmas, because otherwise I'd be going slippery when wet, and I'm not going to do that.
No, thank God. Thank God.
There's rules. So what are these 12 albums so that folks can win?
In no particular order, these are the 12 we came up with. I will say them, and since he's like Mr. Wikipedia, he will amaze you with facts about these records that you had no idea or maybe don't even care to know, but it's always fun to listen to him talk because he is passionate. Album number 1 will be Slippery When Wet from Bon Jovi.
Definitely his biggest, and I mean, that's the one that really put him on the charts. There were other songs.
Right.
But from New Jersey, that's the one that put him out there.
Absolutely. And I always heard a story that one of the biggest songs on here, You Give Love a Bad Name, he actually didn't even want to record. That there's a story that was like one of the last tracks they put on this album, but he didn't think it was a hit till some of the other band members said, no, I think there's something here.
That's the biggie.
So, yes, exactly.
So Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic is another one we picked, which is a great one from the boys. Oh, man.
Sweet Emotion, Walk This Way. You've got a big 10-inch record, which is always a funny one. No More, No More was always my favorite song.
But I always thought it odd because this is a 12-inch, but you know, what the heck. That's an LP.
And then coming up, Van Halen's last album with David Lee Roth, 1984.
Yep. I'll tell you what, when this came out, I remember when this one came out, I had some diehard Van Halen fans that were just absolutely livid at the fact that there were keyboards in it. But it turned out to be one of their biggest and most memorable.
Oh, Jump by far is actually the band's only #1 hit, if you want to be technical about it. And this man right here, hard to believe Eddie Van Halen's been gone for 2 years already. Still absolutely shocked by that.
So Def Leppard, Pyromania, another one on this list. We should also mention these are all new vinyl records, sealed and ready to go, reissues, and obviously with them. But this one was a good one. I saw this tour back in what was it?
83?
82, 83-ish. Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly when. We were talking about concert ticket prices. I think it was $12 to go see these guys at Joe Louis back then. So always fun. But this one had big stuff on there. The Rock of Ages. And
Rock of Ages.
Globin'.
Photograph, Foolin', Too Late for Love. Rock Till You Drop was always another one of my closet favorites. Definitely one of the biggest albums of all time in any genre of music. AC/DC's Back in Black right here.
We put that on here at the store, and folks, you can see them just kind of digging their heads. There's not a single stinker song on this one. It's everyone's a good
And I'm
tune.
always just amazed at the story of this, for those of you that don't know, but I'm sure all of you do, that this was the first AC/DC album with Brian Johnson singing, and they literally slapped this album together about 6 months after the death of original lead singer Bon Scott. And people thought it would be the end of AC/DC. There's no way they're going to be able to rebound from his death. And lo and behold, it turned out to be their biggest seller.
The band had actually wanted to as well make it an all-black cover a la Spinal Tap or something along those things, but the record label refused and said, you've got to put some sort of indication as to what the name of the band is or no one is going to buy that. But they originally wanted this to be an all-black cover, and that didn't happen.
And all black because of In Mourning of Bon Scott.
Here is a hometown. Here we go. Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, Live Bullet. This is an interesting one because there's so many Seger songs out there that folks recognize only from his live music.
Right.
You think you hear the original version of something like Turn the Page, which was on back in 72, and it doesn't sound right because you've only ever heard this one on the radio pretty much. And double LP, great stuff.
And I believe this recorded over 2 nights at Cobo Hall in Detroit. That's where we recorded
and
this
concert tickets were probably pretty cheap then.
Yeah, yes, they were. Yes, they were.
All right, we're going to throw a greatest hits into this batch as well. But this is a special one because this is by far one of the biggest selling albums of all time.
I believe this album, Eagles' Greatest Hits 71 to 75, and Michael Jackson's Thriller always go back and forth between being the biggest selling album ever.
But a lot of folks, you get into the Eagles, this really pretty much covers everything that you would want to hear from the Eagles, especially if your last name is Lebowski.
Talking about big albums, this band has certainly had a lot of them, but this is the biggest of the big.
Yep.
Led Zeppelin 4. You're talking Stairway to Heaven, you're talking Black Dog, Rock and Roll, Misty Mountain Hop, When the Levee Breaks. Absolutely unbelievable.
This is a must for any collection, so if you want to win this, you get in on this here with the 12 albums of Christmas.
And technically, to get into, I'm surprised you didn't throw out this nugget of information that this album technically is untitled.
It is untitled. It's their 4th LP, but if you look on things like Discogs, it actually says untitled in there.
Right. Some people referred to it as Zoso, but just because it was their 4th album and we were all doing drugs back then, we just said it's Led Zeppelin 4.
Even had it referred to as Picking Up Sticks or something along those lines because of the cover art. Another big one of all time here.
Fleetwood Mac Rumors.
Yep. One of the biggest selling albums for them of all time. And we talked before about the origins of this cover. The dingly danglies there are actually toilet flushers from British loos. You'd pull up on the handle, and they just thought it'd be funny to kind of throw that in there. And no, it was actually like a good luck charm that he had with him on the drum kit all the time.
The greatest 2 hires in Fleetwood Mac history, Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham.
Well, they went from being predominantly a Brit blues band into this top 40 hit machine they did once they added the women onto the roster.
Again, and this is one of those albums where you could almost consider it a greatest hits album because everyone is absolutely solid.
We've got the band.
I'll tell you what, let's do this one first, and then we'll segue into that one.
All right. Boston. Now, this is a reissue of Boston's first self-titled, but for some reason, reissues of this are difficult to find except for a picture disc. But picture discs are cool.
That's cool.
And new picture discs actually don't sound half bad at all. So this is one that's going to sound great and look really cool. But you know a little bit about that cover.
That's the reason why I switched these up, because when this album came out for, I believe, 11 years, it was the best-selling debut album in rock history.
That's right.
This was a standard. Every song got played on the radio. And the album that knocked this one off for being the best-selling debut
was Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. Now, this is not the original cover. They have since banned that cover with the robot, if you know what we're talking about. That's worth a lot of money if you find that one. But still, this is some great stuff. I think the original cover artwork is on the inner sleeve inside. But
very cool.
This is the one that knocked Boston off of that longest-selling or biggest-selling
debut album. Yep.
So
this remains the biggest-selling debut, too.
Sweet Child of Mine is on here. Welcome to the Jungle, you name it.
Paradise City.
Yep. Great stuff from GNR.
The 12 albums of Christmas, the 12th and final one. It's the thing I love about classic rock is I think it's the only format where you just look at a picture of an album cover and you know exactly who it is and what it is. It doesn't even need to tell you anything. And to me, this is the epitome of that.
Yep.
Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
Now, you can find used copies of this, but I'll tell you what, I've seen some dogs in my day that sound clicky and poppy. So this is one of those albums that you need to listen to in pristine condition because there's so much nuance to it, so much depth to it that that's really the best way to enjoy it. A new piece of vinyl is a good way to go.
And I always forget the exact numbers, but it's insane when you realize that this album spent like 7 years 7 years on the Billboard Top 200 chart, like 520 some odd weeks.
And when it drops off, usually a month or two later, it pops back up for some odd reason. But a great way to round out the 12 albums of Christmas.
So when you win this, we will leave it up to you to go find a copy of The Wizard of Oz and then drop the needle after the second lion roar and see if they sync up.
They do sync up, but Roger Waters just very recently said it's all BS. But it's Roger Waters. He may just be grumpy.
So there you go. The 12 albums of Christmas that we are giving to you. Wheelz 1045 and Jim kind enough at Radio Wasteland Records in Midland. So as soon as you watch this video, it's going to be open to stop by Radio Wasteland Records between now and Wednesday, December 14th to sign up to win all 12 albums. Then on Thursday, December 15th, 10 a.m., we will be back right here. And we will yank out that winning name and find out who's going to have one hell of a Christmas.
Particulars are there is no purchase necessary. All you got to do is stop by the store, look for the entry box, write your name and contact information on that. We will not sell it to spammers, don't worry. And that's it. All you got to do is pop in, drop your name in, and we'll draw that name out, and somebody will go home happy right before the holidays.
And what you say, I mean, this is just a little tiny corner of Jim's gigantic collection of vinyl. Perfect Christmas gift idea, and it's unique. You'll find some stuff here you had no idea that even existed, and that's what makes it cool.
It's always fun. You know, vinyl collectors, whether you're new to the game or you've been in it for a while, it's all about the hunt and digging through those crates and finding that very unique, super cool item that you don't think anybody else knows about, but you've got one now.
And I still have one on my desk that Jim was kind enough to give me because last time I was out here, my name is Stan. My dad was a gigantic St. Louis Cardinals fan, and he said he named me after the great Stan Musial. I don't know if that's true, but that's the story I always went with. And sitting right there one day, there was like the 100 greatest radio calls of Stan Musial's career, and I just thought that was so cool. And Jim was kind enough to say, you know what, given the history of your dad, and here you go. So
all that kind of fun stuff.
Yes.
So there you have it, the 12 albums of Christmas, yours to win if you stop by Radio Wasteland Records here in Midland between now and December 15th, when Stan will come back and we'll draw that name out for one lucky person to go home with a heck of a great starter collection or an improvement upgrade collection or albums that you may not have picked up before and you want to get into your collection now. So Stan, thank you very much
Jim,
again.
thank
for the
you.
idea, man. Good luck with
Always
this.
good seeing you. Have a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy the holidays, everyone, and best of luck winning the 12 albums of Christmas.
Make sure you're listening to Wheelz 1045 as well throughout the holidays.
Absolutely.